Network security is one of the most common concerns in today's world. Handling the network traffic efficiently, filtering the requests with malicious intent, and smoothing the spikes in network traffic are some of the tasks that every application needs to deal with before becoming live on the internet. To achieve all of these objectives, we can use concepts of network proxies. Proxies are one of the most important aspects of system design. In this video, we will learn about basics of proxy server, how it works, advantages of proxy servers and much more. So, let's get started. In this video, we will look at what proxies are, why are they useful, what are different types of proxies, and what are the pros and cons of using proxies. Let's dig deep. Let's look at what proxies are. Proxy is an intermediary piece of hardware or software that sits between the client and the backend server. It receives requests from clients and relays them to the origin servers. Typically, proxies are used to filter requests, log requests, or sometimes transform requests by adding or removing headers, encrypting or decrypting, or compression. A proxy server is a computer, or a server that acts as a gateway between a local network and the internet. The proxy server will get all the requests from the client and forward the request to the server. So when the server responds, it will receive the data and forward it to the client. Since this is the first component that interacts with the client before forwarding your request to the web server, hence this can be used as a central place to implement security in your system. A proxy server's cache can serve a lot of requests. For example, collapse the same or similar data access requests into one request, and then return the single result to the user. This scheme is called collapsed forwarding. Let's take an example. Let's say you have built an application that provides you with information on football matches. It's FIFA World Cup season, and everyone is excited about the fixtures, timings, and match stadium information. Since the whole world is excited about this, the traffic on your website increases for requesting the fixtures, timings, and match stadium. It would be a bad design if you query your database for this information for every request, as it would make all the requests do an unnecessary read operation. Since the fixtures, timing, and match stadium is not likely to change, you can just cache the result, and instead of going to your application server and asking for this information, you can use your proxy server cache to return the response with minimum latency. Let's see why proxies are used. Proxies are used to monitor the requests and responses. Since every request goes through the proxy server first, before reaching your application or web server, so it can be used for monitoring the requests and responses. It can also be used to store logs. You can also add some application-specific headers that your application server might expect, or you can delete the headers, which you think could potentially cause issues for your application. Since this is the central place where your requests come, before getting delivered to your application or web server, hence this can be used for encryption and decryption of sensitive information. You can also use proxies to block or unblock websites. Let's take a look at different types of proxies. Transparent proxy. The proxy server sits between client and the web or application server. It intercepts the traffic from client and searches in its cache. If the response is cached, it returns the response. This can also be used to filter the requests. If the data is not found in the cache, then it goes to the web or application server and returns the appropriate response. Distorting proxy. This is also known as gateway proxy. It hides the client IP and adds or removes the headers from the HTTP requests, then sends the request to the web or application server and gets the response and returns to the client. Tunneling proxy. This is used to transfer private data over public internet by masking or encrypting the data. The encrypted data is then sent to the web or application server, and the response is then sent to the client. Forward proxy. It is used to access the websites that are usually blocked when the client tries to directly connect to them. This type of proxy will hide the IP of the client, so that it can get the response from the blocked websites. Reverse proxy. This kind of proxy server is used in load balancing and high availability. The reverse proxy server will take the request from the client and forward it to any one of the application servers. The client will not have any knowledge of the server from which it receives the response. So what are the pros and cons of using proxies? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of proxy servers. Pros. A proxy server can utilize cache memory. For example, if 100 computers want to download the same software, you wouldn't go to your web server 100 times, with the same request. That would be a bad design. What you could do, is cache the software, and download it one time. For the rest 99 requests, the software would be available from the proxy server, via its cache, thus reducing the bandwidth. At the time of DDoS attack, the proxy server will be affected, but the actual application server will remain safe. Cons. Adding a proxy server to your system increases the complexity of the system. As you are introducing a new network layer, in between your web server and client, the number of hops to get the response increase, thus increasing the response time. While proxies have much to offer, they increase the complexity of the system. We need to design our system in such a way that proxies do not unnecessarily burden the system. With this, we are done with this topic. Best of luck and happy designing.